This podcast was produced by Shaun Weston Media.
Welcome to episode 25 of the Media Will Eat Itself podcast. It's another season of interviews about how modern professional people work within modern media. Martin Knight joins me for this episode. He's Managing Director of Home, an employee experience agency based in Bristol, where he has so far enjoyed a 28-year career fresh out of college. We discuss many topics, including internal communications, employee engagement, graphic design, leadership, transferable skills, and the benefits of having worked at a single company. I very much hope you enjoy the show. And now, Martin Knight. All right, Martin, thanks for joining me on the podcast.
Hi, Shaun. How you doing?
So my guests usually have a roadmap of career markers that I can draw on to plan each episode. And you may be the first guest on the show who has been incumbent, if you will, in your current role for about 28 years.
Yeah.
So please tell the listeners a little bit more about what seems to be, pardon the pun, your home from home.
Well, technically I'm still on work experience, Shaun. I joined as a kind of starry-eyed sort of designer from Falmouth College, and I met this wonderful woman called Carol Whitworth, who she asked me to come in and show me her portfolio, and I came in and showed it with clients there, with friends there, with all sorts of people, and I was like, oh God, it was baptism of fire. This kind of spotty youth, showing this portfolio, and we hit it off from there actually, and actually it's a sort of a relationship sort of made in heaven, really, if I'm honest. And we both got on like a house on fire, and after a few years of being designers, she asked whether I wanted to become a kind of partner with her and grow the business out, and we've not looked back ever since, really. We've sort of just gone from strength to strength, and we were at that stage, I guess, all things draw people in terms of designers. We would do branding, we would do internal comms, we would do campaign stuff, and actually we really hit on the fact that it was the people that we really resonated with. And when we did brands, and when we created these brands for people and doing workshops and understanding what it meant for the organizations that we work with, what it meant to work for that particular place, that was the really interesting thing for us, and kind of galvanizing that and harnessing that.
Well, that initial stage, though, if we step back a little bit, that initial stage of throwing you in, that baptism of fire, as you put it, that shows a lot of trust, doesn't it, in you? The spotty youth, as you immodestly called yourself, that's a lot of trust for someone to come straight from educational environment to this very creative agency.
Yeah, like I said, I think it was just one of those meetings of minds, really. I can't put it any different than that we hit it off, and Carol trusted me, and I trusted her, and actually she had a lot of wisdom, and I had a lot of energy, and we just bounced off each other. And we were only talking the other day about some of the deadlines and some of the things that we used to still be there at 2:00 in the morning. Not an idea between us, but we would enjoy it. We would have fun, and then we would get there and we'd get the ideas done. We'd go home, have a shower at 7:00, get on the road again at 8:00, going for the meeting at 9, and 9 times out of 10 win it. And that was the kind of adrenaline rush, and I guess the excitement of it all at that time, and that's really fostered this great relationship, and I think respect for one another.
Yes, very, very important as well, isn't it? That sort of respect. Otherwise, nothing grows from it.
No, exactly. And you've got to have that respect. You've got to have that trust. And I think we've both kind of earned our stripes, with each other, if you know what I mean. And really, we're there for each other, and still to this day, we speak all the time about what we're doing, how we're doing it, and she trusts me, I trust her, and that's what it's all about, really.
Now, the person who works at home is called a homie. Is that right?
That's right. Yeah.
So does that make you chief homie, or at least co-chief homie?
Yes, it does. It does. Yeah.
So how would you actually describe your role then? at the moment?
Well, I sort of think I am in the fortunate enough position to have done every role within home apart from the accounting.
Oh, who wants to do that?
Who wants to do that, right? But I joined as a junior designer. I've worked my way up, through all levels of design. But we didn't have any account managers initially, so we would go to the meetings and do all that kind of meeting with the clients and managing that. I'm in that fortunate position to be able to empathize with every single one of our employees and kind of get what they're going through and understand that the pressures that they feel, I guess, can kind of glue all the bits together and make it all work and kind of, make sure that people have that kind of line of sight and that empathy for one another. And I think that's really important that we all get each other's pressures in our jobs and what we're, all trying to achieve and all trying to achieve it together, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, I think it's an important point you're making there as well, is that you have been through lots of different roles and levels, I suppose, if you want to talk in a hierarchical sense within a business. Now, there are many people who've done that throughout their career as well, but have gone from business to business and perhaps from industry to industry. You're quite unique in that your position is within one company and one industry. You know that inside out. There's an extra level, if you will, of that understanding, and I think that's to your benefit. Would you say so?
I would agree, yeah. And actually, you make an interesting point there where people chop and change from different organizations to organization. I think, the thing that, Home has managed to do is just kind of keep, not reinventing itself, but keep being progressive, keep winning bigger and not necessarily bigger, but, keep winning clients that really excite us and challenge us. And that is the bit that was all about. We want to be excited. We want to be challenged. We want to be stimulated. We've been very fortunate to be able to win those clients that have enabled us to do that. Said it's not always about being the biggest. It's actually just having the biggest challenge that stimulates me and all my people as designers, but also as strategists. It's a real kind of testament to what we've done really over the years. I think is to be able to pick and choose the sort of clients that we want to go for and want to work with, and those partnerships that we want to forge. Really.
Yeah, let's talk about those clients a little bit. So you having a look at your client logos on your website, for instance, mainly British, but there's a lot of US companies in there as well.
Yeah, we made a decision. So Carol is a great public speaker and does a lot of speaking, around the world actually. And there was too many conversations that she was having and events that she was talking at in America where people would go, "Oh, your stuff is wicked. We did that here," and it would fly in the US. And we sort of sat down and, like I said, we talk all the time, and it was like it's just smacking us in the face. It's too much of a good opportunity to miss, really. So let's give it a go. Let's go and speak to them a bit more seriously about actually how we could potentially help them. I guess the US idea was born, and off Carol went, with a suitcase, and started having more robust conversations with these people about what we could actually do for them. And now the US is a big part of our business, a considerable part of our business, and one that we really enjoy working with those people and those challenges. Again, that's another one of those great challenges and milestones within Home's existence of like, right, okay, well, we're going to try and do this and try and export, and what does that entail, and how do we do that? Do we open offices there? Do we export? How do we do that? It's just keeping it all fresh, really, and those challenges front of mind, really.
Well, did those challenges include any differences in the approach to the creative side of things? So obviously practical and logistical skills of working with the different regions and different country, but what about the creative side? Do they do things differently in America? And were you able to understand and then meet those new targets and new challenges?
I think there are quirks between different regions, but people are people, and we work obviously in employee experiences. So it's all about trying to communicate with people, to be honest with people, to be real with people, and to bring them on, I don't like to say the phrase, but the journey with you. And so, yes, there are challenges, but ultimately, we're all kind of made up the same way, if you know what I mean, and we all want the same things. So slight quirks, but not radically different. And so that kind of played into our hands, really.
So the transferring of your knowledge was pretty smooth.
Yeah, I think so. And obviously, we had to establish a way of working. We were going to kind of export to the US, and we had to work out and prove that we could do this. But the world's a small place nowadays, as we're finding out. During lockdown, that we can be wherever and record sessions like this, or speak to people, interview people, understand cultures, do kind of big workshops with people, and then bring that back and get our creative team, who again have a lot of history with home and a lot of experience, and use all that experience to kind of go back with solutions and to their business challenges, really.
Well, I'm going to list just a few of the keywords behind Home's offering, which are internal communications, culture, engagement, HR, creativity, CSR. You can tell this is a list. Values, strategy, and planning. Is this a collection of its various skills over the years, or was it that from the get-go?
This is a collection of skills that we've acquired, I guess, over time. Like I've referred to at the beginning of this, from the get-go, Home is just a pure design agency. Carol's a designer, I'm a designer, and it was just, we did creative, we loved creative, and we did it for the joy of it, and creating something beautiful for our clients. And when we were doing branding for people, it was those workshops where you got to meet the people that worked within these organizations and really harnessed what it was to work there. That I think really stimulated us and really got us onto thinking about, actually, wouldn't it be really great to really foster this energy that these people have working for this organization into some of the larger organizations that we work with. And we've worked with Royal Mail, and we're doing some internal comms with them. We've been doing that for 20, 25, 26 years.
Oh, a real long time. Yeah.
And so it was like, how can we get this magic into an organization like this? And that was really where I think the idea came from, was that passion to really kind of energize workforces, really.
Yeah. Can we focus on the communication side of things for the moment? So you may not know what the landscape looked like in 1981 when Home came to fruition. But what did business communications look like in 1992 when you joined?
I think if you had a newsletter, you were lucky.
Was it Gordon Gekko land?
Yeah.
Yeah. For those who don't know, Wall Street, Gordon Gekko's a character in Wall Street, and business communications perhaps not have been quite as flexible as they are these days.
Yeah, absolutely. And it was just, you were just told this is what's happening, this is how it is, and suck it up. This is it. And it wasn't really, now we obviously talk a lot about kind of well-being and the experience, and I think we try and drive great customer experience through great employee experiences.
Yeah.
And that is the nugget. But before, I think people used to just really concentrate on the external marketing and actually, just attract more customers, big churn. If they don't like it, well, they can go, we'll just attract more. And I think, those days are long behind us now. And it's about, retaining the market share that you've got and making sure your customers are advocates for you. People are savvy to that now. It's not just a great advertising campaign anymore. It's actually about the whole deal. Is the product good? Is the experience good? Does it work? What was it like? And people buy from people, and that's what it's all about.
Oh, that's a really good point. There's a sense, I suppose, that companies, any businesses, I suppose, have a sense of self now that they may not have had in the early 90s or whatever, where we are a sum of our parts.
Yeah.
There's more inward looking at what the business can achieve if people are happy within that business. And then if employees are happy, then our customers will be happy. And that, I don't know if that existed in the 80s and 90s as much as it does now.
I don't think it did, if I'm honest. And well, it certainly, wasn't very apparent to the way that people wanted to kind of communicate, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Now there's obviously huge emphasis on people's well-being and the whole experience, and that whole thing of, a happy employee will deliver a great experience.
And it filters through the work and then pass it on to the customer.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So do you think, with all that in mind, do clients know what they want more now, or do they come to you for ideas? And has this changed over the years?
That's a good point. I think, back in the early 90s, people would be very prescriptive about what they wanted. We want this, and we want that. We want a brochure to say this, or we want a recognition scheme to say that. Or a newsletter, or an intranet banner. Or a few years ago, we just want an app. Well, what do you want it to do? Well, I don't know. We all feel like we need one. Our thing has always been about understanding the problem, and so people may come and sort of say, look, we think we need this, and we'll obviously take that on board, but we'll also say, look, let's do a little bit of kind of digging around, let's do some research, let's talk to some people about the challenges and where you are, the landscape, and then try and find something that actually fits and will help and solve that challenge, if you know what I mean. So yeah. I think people still come to us on a, let's say, tactical level and say, we want a recognition campaign, and okay, let's talk about that. But a lot of people come to us and sort of say, look, we're sort of failing at this, or actually we will highlight that something's not quite working through some of the immersions and some of the conversations that we've had from, whether that's board level or down to the kind of workforce, the guy driving the van or sweeping the floor. It's about speaking to the people, understanding the business, where it is, what it's trying to do, and then working out, where things can be improved.
Yeah, and you preempted a lot of our current challenges, or the challenges of 2020, COVID-19, in getting your digital sofa sessions up and running, haven't you? Can you tell us a bit more about those?
We started the sofa sessions to sort of give people the knowledge about, being able to tackle some of these challenges that we talked about a minute ago. And you need to try and bring it to the people, and the world is a small place. Technology works in our favor. And so we do these digital sofa sessions for people to say, let's say an EVP, an employee value proposition. People sometimes just don't know where to start, or how to have that conversation with, senior leaders within an organization. They sort of know they want to do it, but how do we go about it? What does it entail? How do we get this ball rolling? So, we want to be able to kind of help people. We want to be able to, give them the tools to be able to have the conversations and maybe, take things forward on their own. But if we can help out and give them some advice, or, actually get involved with the project as well, then all great. But we've been doing them for a few years actually, and they've been good. They've been really good, and people, I'm pleased to say, are really happy when they come and have given us some great feedback. And I'm not saying, we've got it perfect. We always try and evolve it and try and listen to any thoughts that people may have, but it's certainly going in the right direction, and it's certainly helping people out there in the world, doing what they're doing.
I think it's really nice, actually. There's a real warmth to how Home seems to market itself and engage with even the people it doesn't know. It's not, not necessarily. It could be lead generation if you look at it from a business point of view, but it seems to be very much, let us try to help you through this. And I've looked at quite a few sites that offer what you offer, but not quite the same as the way you offer it. I'll come to the Home Toolkit, for instance. You put together a little package there to help people, to help businesses through this sort of thing.
We felt passionate that we needed to be there and actually communicate and help people in these difficult times. And so we put these toolkits together, as quickly as possible, and got them out and made them a reference point actually for people to be able to kind of take them through the next stage. And it felt very reactive, because we were in a reactive world at that point, and things were changing very quickly. And so, how were these HR managers and people going to be able to communicate, and how are they going to talk to their people? What were the challenges that everyone was facing? We're in a fortunate enough position to be able to speak to lots of organizations and have a little bit of insight into all of those. So we see that we've sort of got this special power to some degree of being able to kind of, look at this organization, look at that organization, have these conversations, and then kind of pull these pearls of wisdom together and kind of go, you're not alone. This is what's going on. And I think that is really, really powerful. And actually, we felt that compelled to do it, and, people have written and just said, your toolkits have been great. It's really helped. And we've had such great feedback from it. And like you said, it's about, being there and trying to be, open and honest and true. And it's the long game, it's, if we can help somebody, and you reap what you sow.
Let's talk a little bit more about you now. A little bit, I'll put you on the spot. Okay, so you started out in graphic design. So are you an accidental managing director, or did you find your true calling quite early in your professional career?
I think you could say I'm an accidental managing director. I went to Farmer School of Art and Design and thoroughly enjoyed my time there, and what a wonderful place that is. And joined up with Home and Carol many years ago, and just loved being on the boards, as it were, those days, and really enjoyed that challenge. Really enjoyed, meeting people, talking to people, and creating, and that kind of whole buzz and vibe. But then, there's the account management side to it. There was the other bits to it, and so just as you evolve and other people come into the organization, I think you just, for me anyway, have naturally to just take that kind of leadership role to some degree. And
how tough was that, Martin? So when people started to enter the business and then they were looking to you, how did that feel?
Well, it's obviously a challenge, and there's a responsibility, but I relished it actually, and I don't think I'm ever one for sitting back. I'm definitely always near the front of the queue, if you know what I mean, in terms of trying to be involved and sort things out, or kind of try and steer. And I'm not shy with my views, if you know what I mean. And I enjoyed it actually. I enjoy working with people, and again, going back to staying within Home for so long, it's about the people. It's always been about the people, and it's always been about the work. And if we can do great work, and if I surround myself with great people, then I've got no appetite to go anywhere else, really.
So did the leadership responsibilities start to overtake your creative daily life quite quickly, or was it a very gradual process? And just as an added question on that one is, how much do you contribute creatively now, 28 years on?
It was a gradual process, and that was okay. It was quite challenging, obviously, to flip between the two and sort of manage people, but then also doing all the creative and being responsible for that, and making sure that we went to the meetings and delivered it, and do all things. But now, obviously, I've got a great team. We've got a great team of strategists. We've got a great team of creative people. We've got great account managers. We've got great people surrounding us. And so now I guess rarely get involved. It's more kind of just working on Home and making sure we deliver what we promise to our clients, if you know what I mean. And,
driving the business,
making sure it's it's healthy. It's we're doing things the right way. Forward planning and that. So that's the one thing that is difficult. I will get involved, and I'm fortunate enough to kind of be able to just sit in a room and just listen in, or be involved with a brainstorm, or talk about Royal Mail that I've worked with and have experience of for 20 plus years. So talk about how that business has changed, and help some of our kind of creative thinking there. I can dip in and out, but if I'm honest, it's becoming more rare, which I guess do I struggle with that? There's parts of me when I wish I could sort of be back there doing it, but then 9 times out of 10 I'm more than happy to be doing what I'm doing now, if you know what I mean, and actually getting the satisfaction from what we achieve as a collective. And not, I guess selfishly sometimes when you're a designer, it's like, oh yeah, no, this has gone really well, or that's gone great, and the clients really love that, and you sort of feel that benefit. I feel I feel the reward now from every single one, if you know what I mean, every single person and what they've done and how they achieve it, and the wins we win together.
So do you stay up to speed on the new tools, on the graphic design side of things, or are they? Do you feel I've got old, I don't know how all these new Photoshop tools are looking these days.
I mean, in the last 12 weeks, I've had to do a lot more myself, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Working from my shepherd's hut at the bottom of the garden, and I've got to say, I'm a bit rusty.
Yeah, it happens, doesn't it?
Yeah, and because they're evolving all the time, and they do such amazing things now, and it's just like, oh my god, this is incredible. But no, if I'm honest, I can't stay abreast of it, and I'm getting a bit ring rusty. Yeah, it's got to be said.
All right, so we're coming to a close. Half an hour's almost up. So I like to ask at this point what advice you would have for young people listening in who are looking to perhaps, in this case, enter the world of internal communications.
I mean, I think you got to really follow your gut. For us, home, we sort of followed our gut and about seeing something that we were passionate about in terms of galvanizing people within an organization. And like I said, back in the early 90s, employee experience was just, it wasn't even a phrase. It was just internal comms and just communicate that. But we felt really passionate about galvanizing those people and speaking to people as people and bringing them along with the business and connecting them to it. And we were kind of pioneers really, and we drew a line in the sand and went, you know what, this is what we're going to do, and this is what we're really passionate about, and that's what we did from that day on. And really everything, all our decisions have been about enhancing that and making that the best it can be, and not watering ourselves down of going, well, we could do employee experience or internal comms, but we could also do a bit of this, or we could also do a bit of that.
Yeah,
I think
stay flexible. Yeah,
people want to buy experts now, and that's what we did, and thankfully, it's paid off. And but it's about gut and what you're passionate about. I think.
I'm glad you said that. I think instinct has almost become a dirty word, I think, for some, that relying on your instinct is not as good as showing us some evidence of what the landscape will look like. Well, experience, anyone with great experience is able to provide success on a foundation of instinct more often than people who are inexperienced. I think so anyway.
Yeah, no, I agree. And, let's take America, as we talked about earlier, as an example. If you would have done a balance sheet and worked it out, it would have gone, it doesn't make any sense. Just invest so much money into this to try and kick it off. But instinct and gut told us that actually this was the right thing to do. And we've got to, go forth and give it a go at least, and, if it doesn't work, then, well, it doesn't work. But, there's a lot of instinct and intuition and listening to what people say, and then having the conviction to go forth and go, well, you know what, the door's half open, let's go and walk through it and see what we can find.
Yeah. Well, you have a birthday coming up soon. How old will he be?
Oh, I can't divulge that, Shaun. Old enough.
Old enough. You've already told me you're a keen surfer. So are you able to get back out on the water for your birthday at least?
Well, I'm hoping so, yes. Now that obviously we can travel a bit more and visit the beach. I haven't visited the beach since, I don't know, mid-February. So I'm craving it. So I'm hoping so, yes. I'm hoping that end of July I'll be able to get myself down there. So, yeah.
And of course, Home will celebrate a big birthday next year. Any celebrations planned?
Yeah, we're not shy of a party. So we haven't forged any plans yet, but I'm sure it will be a raucous affair. It will be good, and you're obviously invited.
Oh, thank you very much. That's really nice of you. Well, how do people get in touch with you, Martin?
Well, obviously, there's email, which they can get me on, and LinkedIn. You can just find me on LinkedIn. Yeah, just drop me a bell. Give us a call. Numbers obviously on the website and stuff. So yeah. Please hook up with me on LinkedIn and stuff like that. Yeah.
Fantastic. And thanks again for joining me, Martin.
Thank you.
That was Martin Knight, and you can find him online on LinkedIn, and the company website is thisishome.co.uk. If you've enjoyed this episode, please leave a rating on your favourite podcast platform or simply share it with a friend or colleague. Take a look at my own website at shaunweston.co.uk for more information about me. In the meantime, stay tuned. There's more to come.